A quick follow-up with Travis Luter. What did he say, or did you have a chance to talk to him about what he's doing to stay in shape, and what was kind of like the turning point to where he's like, okay, I really got to do this cardio stuff now?
I think it's just what everybody says about him. I only was in the elevator with him and we're talking while we're going down, and he really picked it up. Apparently, he trained really hard. I think after being named as the guy who always runs out of gas, he went like BJ Penn on us. And like BJ was always that guy that was phenomenally talented, but he had always a problem with stamina. And suddenly he flipped that around, and now BJ can't fight 5 rounds and made himself a way better fighter. And I think this is the case with him also. Tito had that too. Like Tito lost to Frank Shamrock like in the 5th round, and I was with him in the bus back to the airport. And he says, yeah, what do I do? And I said, man, conditioning. I said, conditioning should be the number one priority of every fighter, because running out of gas, if you see guys in the UFC or in other big organization that run out of gas, it's unacceptable. It's really unacceptable. Go run a hill. Go do something. It's your job. You cannot run out of gas. It's unacceptable. And he picked that up also, and he became a guy who got a lot of stamina. And I think Travis Luter is like that. I think, he says, okay, I want to come back. I didn't fight for a long time now. Let's see the people who I really am. And hopefully that's the motivation, and hopefully he's going to do it.
Bas, a couple of questions that have been posed by multiple members about the Strikeforce announced team. Now, a lot of people seem to want you to replace Frank Shamrock. First question from Momentous, what do you think about the Strikeforce commentary team?
I always say I think Mo Ranello is one of the best commentators in the business. And I sometimes I hear people saying things about him, and I absolutely have no clue where they get it from. And I know these are the fans behind the keyboards. A lot of them have absolutely no clue what they're talking about. But if you talk to any professional fighter, everybody loves Mauro because he's just a great commentator. And also they say, yeah, he doesn't know his stuff. He knows his stuff, Mo is working hard on that. He's watching the DVDs that I gave him, and officially a play-by-play guy doesn't need to know it. You look at Goldberg, those guys are the guys who put everything together, so to say, and they talk when there's dead silence, there's nothing to do. They read stats, they memorize. His mother just had this, and his sister is doing that, and he trained when he was a kid. He did boxing and blah blah blah. And then the technical guy, the caller guy, he talks about what's going on in the ring or in the cage. Now, Gus, I love Gus, but as a commentator, sometimes I think he makes big mistakes if you don't know how to pronounce a name from a fighter, and yet these are things that I think you can't do that. It's like when they will pronounce, like with me, they call me Bass. Like, if you want to piss me off, call me Bass. I say that's a fish. That's a double ass. I'm Boss, but I can understand that because that's, people don't know. It's in America, everything is whack, whack, whack. They try to do that. I can understand that, but sometimes just a name mispronouncing, I think as a commentator, you should really, go to the guy and ask. It's the same as the ring announcer. He should exactly know how to announce somebody when he gets up, because otherwise the guy's not going to feel good if they pronounce your name wrong and you have to walk up. It doesn't sound right. So I think he needs a little bit of work. And like I said, he's a great commentator in all the other sports that he does also, but he just needs to tune up a little bit more and come to this and maybe don't go that deep into the technical aspects, because that's where he makes the mistakes. And I always say, if you don't know it, don't say it, because you make yourself look not that good. And Frank, I like Frank. Frank is technical. He's very fast with his comments, like saying, "Oh, they should do this," and and find for an escape. But, I think it's a good team. But I would say, the play-by-play guy, which is Gus Johnson, I think he should. If he doesn't really understand a certain technique that goes on, he shouldn't say anything. He should leave it over to the caller guy.
Now, Bas, I was asked another question from the chat room from one of our chatters. Wanted to know if you had the opportunity to fight Frank Shamrock again, would you?
No, I don't. First of all, with my knees, I can't fight him, and I wouldn't do it anymore. The only one that I wanted to fight in the past was Ken Shamrock because it was the only black page on my record. But I was going to come out of retirement to fight him in Pride, and then you didn't want to fight me. He said, "Oh, we did it already. We don't need to do it again." So, and then now, of course, they say, "Oh, you want to fight him?" I'm not going to fight a guy who had 6-7 losses in a row, Plus, of course, I can do it with my knees, but it wouldn't be interesting for me. I beat guys that he lost to after I lost to him, so I'm okay with that.
Now, Momentus wanted to know, and this brought up a little bit about the Gus Johnson topic. He brought up Johnson's remarks saying that's what happens in MMA during the infamous Strikeforce brawl. What's your retaliation to that, Bas? Being you guys have come a long way from killing that myth, and he brings something like that up.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What I said, if you don't understand something, you should leave it alone. Obviously that. He said that without thinking. There's another thing. There's a lot of stuff when you're on the air, man. If you are in my mind, and you can see what goes on in my mind, and the stuff that I want to say that I can't say on air, it's like I'm a freak. I shoot all over the place with my mind, and I really have to, like on Inside MMA, you see me writing notes, and what I'm writing down, I'm writing stuff down that I just can't say on air, So I can understand that a lot of comes up in him, but maybe he says those things. But you can say it because this is the sport that you should put your arms around. This is your baby. You should make this sport big. You can say something like that.